Netflix's 1992 waits till its final moments to reveal the Flamethrower killer's true motives and identity, leaving viewers curious about why he carried out the brutal acts of violence. Unfolding as a well-rounded miniseries, Netflix's 1992 keeps viewers on their toes with its gripping mysteries and investigative drama. Although 1992 does not do anything distinct to make itself stand out among other detective TV shows on Netflix, it manages to keep viewers hooked with its compelling character beats and performances. One of the most intriguing characters in 1992 is an enigmatic criminal named the Flamethrower Killer. For obvious reasons, his name stems from his modus operandi of killing, as he uses a flamethrower to burn his victims to death. However, instead of randomly targeting innocents, the killer only focuses on a specific set of people, suggesting that he is driven by a strong sense of purpose and is seemingly murdering people to exact some form of revenge. The Flamethrower Killer is revealed as Victor in 1992. Victor plans to kill each member of the 1992 Expo Committee. The Flamethrower Killer in 1992. 1992 reveals that the Flamethrower Killer is a middle-aged man named Victor who lives in isolation and meticulously plots his crimes. Victor sets his eyes on the committee members of the 1992 Expo in Seville and kills them one by one using a flamethrower. Since his modus operandi of killing his targets is very destructive, he also ends up murdering several innocents who come in his way. For instance, in the show's opening arc, he kills Amporo's husband while setting out to murder one of his main victims from the 1992 Expo's committee. Even towards 1992's ending arc, the Flamethrower Killer burns the minister's guards with his gun before entering his home to kill him. Victor has a distinct appearance because he has burns all over his body. This prevents him from blending in with the crowd. However, he still manages to disguise himself before sneaking into the locations where his victims are hiding. Moments before he kills his victims, he also wears the Expo's Curro mascot's head as a mask. The mask seems to be an important part of his ritual, which raises many questions about his past connections with the 1992 Expo. Victor's backstory in 1992 explained. Victor had a traumatic childhood that connected to the 1992 Expo. Fernando Victoria manipulating the Flamethrower Killer in 1992. A flashback in the Spanish Netflix show reveals that, in 1992, Victor's mother was a sex worker. She and two other women were invited to a party by the committee members of the Seville Expo. One of the committee members, Esteban, who later became the minister, accidentally killed her that night, leaving Victor with a lifelong trauma. Although Victor was initially clueless about his mother's fate, he later found her body in the Expo's pavilion moments before it was burned down by a security guard paid off by the committee members in a desperate attempt to save his mother's body. Victor, too, severely burned himself. However, he somehow survived, and a cleaner, Rosa, became his caregiver. Although Victor gradually healed, he was left with severe burns all across his body. Despite having a traumatic childhood, Victor did not initially set out to avenge his mother's death. He kept to himself for years until a fateful encounter with a man encouraged him to seek vengeance. Why Victor burns his victim? He hopes to punish his enemies the same way they tormented him. After almost getting burned to death as a child, Victor seemingly grows obsessed with fire. His destroyed nerve endings prevent him from feeling the heat of the fire, explaining why he places his palm over a flame in many scenes from 1992. Since both he and his mother were burned by the man hired by the committee members, he wishes to bring the same fiery pain and suffering to those responsible for their torment. By claiming control over the element that destroyed his life, Victor takes charge of his life and pushes further down a path of revenge against the people who harmed him. How Fernando Victoria uses Victor's trauma to his advantage. Fernando manipulates Victor to save himself from bankruptcy. As the flashbacks in 1992 establish, Victor initially felt helpless and had no intentions of killing the committee members. He also knew little about what exactly happened to his mother that night. However, after one of the committee members, Fernando Victoria, hears about him, he decides to use his trauma to his advantage. After removing himself from a picture of the committee members, Victoria shows it to Victor, encouraging him to seek revenge by killing all of them. He provides him with all the equipment he needs to pull off the murders and hides in the shadows to ensure no one else learns about his involvement in the crimes. While Victor commits the crimes, Victoria works from behind the scenes and asks the victims for ransom. Towards 1992's ending moments, the minister also falls for his ploy and sends him $3 million. This saves Fernando from going bankrupt. However, as seen in 1992's finale, Victor eventually finds footage from the night his mother was murdered. In the footage, he spots Fernando Victoria, realizing that he, too, was a part of the Expo's committee and had helped the other members cover up the crime. Although Amparo and Richie try to stop him, the Flamethrower killer manages to complete his revenge plan by killing Fernando Victoria in 1992's final arc.